Your mind is a storm of endless chatter, isn't it? A constant whirlwind of thoughts, opinions, and judgments swirling relentlessly with no pause. It's like being trapped in a noisy, overcrowded room where the voices never stop, where the echoes of yesterday's regrets crash into the worries of tomorrow. It's exhausting, isn't it? A never-ending cycle of mental noise that drowns out the simple beauty of the present moment. But what if I told you this storm doesn't have to control you? What if I told you that beyond the chaos, beyond the relentless overthinking and internal debates, there exists something truly profound? A silence so deep, so still, it feels like touching the very essence of life itself. A silence that has been waiting for you all along. Think about it for a moment. How many precious moments of your life have slipped away unnoticed because your mind was somewhere else? Have you ever been in the presence of someone you love, yet instead of truly hearing their words, your mind was busy replaying an unfinished task? Have you ever stood before a breathtaking sunset only to miss its beauty because you were lost in the endless replay of past mistakes? Or perhaps, the most painful of all, the quiet moments of peace you couldn't enjoy because your thoughts were hijacked by anxieties about a future that hasn't even arrived yet? But before we go any further, I want you to ask yourself something. When was the last time you truly felt the present moment? Not just thought about it, not just recognized it in passing, but truly lived in it. Without overanalyzing, without judgment, without comparison. Just raw, unfiltered existence. Just you, here, now. For many, the answer is unsettling. It's been too long. We have unknowingly become prisoners of our own minds, trapped in a relentless stream of thoughts, stuck in a loop of inner dialogue that steals from us the most precious gift of all, the present, the now. But what if you could break free? What if, in the next few minutes, I could show you a way to quiet the noise? Imagine learning how to turn down the volume of your overactive mind, to silence the endless chatter, and finally reconnect with the simplicity and peace of the present moment. What if you didn't need years of meditation or special training to achieve this? What if all you needed was the willingness to try? Because here's the truth. Once you've tasted true silence, once you've felt the deep, untouched stillness beneath the noise, you'll never want to return to the chaos. The peace you seek isn't somewhere out there. It's already within you, waiting for you to notice. So let me ask you one final time, are you ready to let go of the storm? Are you ready to step into the stillness that has always been there, just waiting for you to embrace it? If so, take a deep breath. Feel the air fill your lungs. Let the moment wash over you. And now, let's begin. Imagine this. You're standing in the middle of a beautiful forest. The trees sway gently in the wind, their branches rustling softly, whispering secrets only nature understands. Sunlight filters through the canopy above, casting shifting patterns of light and shadow on the forest floor. The scent of earth, leaves, and fresh pine fills the air, grounding you in the richness of the natural world. Birds sing their morning songs, their melodies weaving effortlessly through the stillness, while a nearby stream hums a gentle tune as it flows over smooth stones. Everything around you moves in harmony, a perfectly orchestrated dance of life. But you don't hear any of it. Why? Because your mind is somewhere else, wrapped up in an endless loop of thought. Maybe you're replaying a conversation from yesterday, dissecting every word, every pause, every inflection in an attempt to rewrite the past. Or maybe you're leaping ahead into the unknown of tomorrow, crafting scenarios of uncertainty, worry, or hope. You're physically here, standing in the heart of the forest, but in truth you're miles away. Lost in a world of thought, surrounded by breathtaking beauty, immersed in the present moment, yet disconnected from it entirely. This is what so many of us experience every single day. Life is happening around us, unfolding in real time, yet we're trapped in the ever-churning noise of our own minds. But why does this happen? Why does the mind insist on talking to us non-stop, like a radio that can't be turned off? Why can't we just be here, fully, without distraction? It's because the mind has learned to mistake thinking for living. It believes that by analyzing, judging, and planning, it is somehow keeping you safe. It convinces you that by replaying the past you can change it, and by predicting the future you can control it. But in reality, it's keeping you stuck in a cycle of worry, regret, over-analysis, and distraction. You are here, but you are not truly present. You are alive, but you are not truly living. And let's be honest, this mental noise is exhausting. You've felt it. That mental fatigue that sets in after hours of overthinking. That feeling of being drained even though you haven't done anything physically demanding. The weight in your chest from carrying the same worries, the same fears, the same uncertainties over and over again. It clouds your focus, steals your energy, and worst of all, it takes away your peace. But here's the truth no one tells you. Silence is the antidote. And by silence, I don't mean the absence of sound. I mean the stillness of the mind, the quiet beneath the noise, the space where awareness replaces thought. This is the silence that allows you to finally hear the world around you, to finally hear yourself. Think about how much of life we miss because we are distracted. How many sunsets go unseen because our eyes are glued to screens? How many smiles go unnoticed because we're lost in thought? How many moments of joy slip through our fingers because we are too busy reliving the past or worrying about a future that hasn't even arrived? Silence matters because it is the doorway to presence. And presence is the only place where life truly happens. You see, the mind thrives on time. It loves to dwell in the past, to analyze what was, to fixate on what could have been different. It loves to anticipate the future, to construct endless what-if scenarios. But the present moment, the now, is where life actually unfolds. It is the only reality. Everything else, the past and the future, exists only as thoughts, only as stories in your mind. The noise in your head builds a world of if-onlys and what-could-bes, pulling you away from the simplicity and completeness of what is. But silence brings you back. It's like stepping out of a crowded, noisy room into open air, where everything suddenly feels clearer, lighter, more alive. Silence isn't just about peace, it's about clarity. In silence, you can finally hear the truth. You can hear your intuition, the quiet, knowing voice within you that so often gets drowned out by the relentless chatter of the mind. You can feel the connection between yourself and the world around you, a connection that has always been there but has been buried beneath layers of noise, distraction, and overthinking. In silence, you begin to see things as they truly are. You realize that you are not separate from life, you are life itself. The boundaries you once believed existed between yourself and the world begin to dissolve, revealing the deep interconnectedness of all things. And here's the beautiful thing. Silence doesn't demand perfection. It doesn't ask you to silence your thoughts completely or achieve some mystical state of stillness. It simply asks for awareness. It invites you to notice the noise without being consumed by it, to step back and observe your thoughts as though watching leaves float down a river, coming and going but never pulling you under. This is why silence matters, not because it eliminates thought, but because it frees you from being controlled by it. And when you begin to embrace that silence, even for a moment, something shifts. The world looks different, even though nothing has changed. You begin to notice the little things, the way the sunlight filters through the trees, the way the breeze brushes against your skin, the way the rhythm of your own breath anchors you to the present. You begin to realize how much life has been waiting for you just beyond the noise. And in that moment, you are here, fully. Have you ever truly felt the heavy, pressing weight of trying to control every single aspect of your existence? You meticulously plan every step, you strategize with painstaking detail, you overthink every possible scenario, all in this relentless, exhausting attempt to ensure nothing in your carefully constructed world falls apart or veers off course. It wears you down, doesn't it? That unyielding, ceaseless need to steer every tiny detail, to guarantee that everything unfolds precisely as you envision it, just right, without flaw or hiccup. But here's a raw, unvarnished truth that most of us shy away from admitting, even to ourselves. Control is nothing more than an illusion, a fragile mirage shimmering in the distance. It's a soothing, comforting tale we whisper to ourselves late at night, a story we cling to desperately, hoping it will shield us, make us feel safe and secure in a wild, unpredictable world that refuses to bend to our will. Yet, the tighter we grasp at this fleeting illusion, the deeper our suffering grows, burrowing into our bones. Pause and reflect for a moment. How often does life genuinely unfold exactly according to the intricate blueprints you've drawn in your mind? A missed phone call that throws off your rhythm, an unexpected delay that unravels your schedule, a sudden inexplicable shift in someone's mood or behavior. These small, seemingly insignificant disruptions creep in, serving as constant quiet reminders that no matter how much you plan, no matter how much you worry or fret, you simply cannot control every thread of the tapestry. And yet, despite this glaring reality, we keep trying, don't we? We hold on with white-knuckled determination, convincing ourselves that if we just push harder, work smarter, think faster, we can somehow outmaneuver the chaos, wrestle it into submission. But oh, this effort, it exacts a heavy toll. We barter away our peace for a gnawing, restless anxiety. We trade our freedom for a simmering, persistent frustration that lingers like a shadow. Let me pose a question to you, one worth lingering on. When was the last time you truly, fully let go? Not in some careless, flippant, or reckless abandon, but in a way that felt liberating, like a weight lifting from your chest. A moment where you stopped wrestling with the reins, stopped trying to force every outcome into a perfect mold, and simply allowed life to unfold naturally, as it will. For so many of us, that very idea sends a shiver of terror down the spine. To let go feels dangerously close to giving up, like waving a white flag, admitting defeat to the universe. But here's the twist, it's not that at all. Letting go isn't synonymous with losing control, not in the way we fear. It's about waking up to the startling realization that you were never truly in control to begin with. Not really. It's about surrendering gracefully to the ebb and flow of life rather than exhausting yourself by constantly battling against its currents. The mind, oh, how it thrives on this notion of control. It craves it, feeds on it, wanting to label every experience, categorize every emotion, predict every twist and turn, and clutch tightly to every fragment of certainty it can find. But life? Life doesn't bend to those rules. Life is fluid, ever-shifting, unpredictable, brimming with surprises that defy our neat little boxes. The harder you try to grasp it, to pin it down, the more it slips away, elusive and untamed. It's like trying to cradle water in your hands. The tighter you squeeze, the more it escapes through your fingers, leaving you with less and less. And yet, when you soften your grip, when you open your palm and allow the water to flow as it's meant to, you discover something profound. It's not gone, not lost. It's simply moving, dancing along its natural path, as it was always destined to do. This is the grand myth of control, the deeply ingrained belief that by holding on with all our might, we can bend life to our whims, shape it to fit our desires. But control is not the same as power, not even close. True power doesn't come from forcing life to bow before you, from wrestling it into submission with sheer will. No, true power emerges from flowing with it, harmonizing with its rhythms. Picture a river winding through the landscape. You can fight its current, thrashing wildly, struggling against its natural direction with every ounce of strength. Or you can surrender to it. Let it carry you along its course. The river doesn't care. It will keep flowing, steady and unyielding, no matter what you choose. But that choice, to resist with clenched fists or to flow with open hands, it determines whether you experience the journey steeped in suffering or bathed in peace. And here's a quiet secret worth holding close. Letting go doesn't mean sitting idle, doing nothing at all. It doesn't mean you stop making choices, stop taking action, or retreat from responsibility. It means you stop resisting what already is, stop pushing against the reality in front of you. It's about showing up wholeheartedly for the present moment without demanding it conform to your expectations, without insisting it be different from what it is. It's about trusting the unfolding process of life, even when the ground beneath you feels shaky and uncertain. Because here's the beautiful irony. The more you release your grip on control, the more life seems to align itself in ways you couldn't have orchestrated, ways you couldn't have dreamed up in your wildest plans. Opportunities blossom unexpectedly, clarity rises like dawn breaking through the fog, and peace settles into you as naturally as breathing. But why is this so incredibly hard for us to embrace? Because the mind equates surrender with vulnerability, with weakness. It whispers urgently, if I don't hold on tight, if I don't stay vigilant, I'll lose everything I've fought for. But the truth spins that fear on its head. When you let go, you carve out space. Space for clarity to settle in. Space for peace to take root. Space for life to flow through you freely instead of being dammed up by your resistance. Letting go isn't about losing anything precious. It's about gaining freedom. Unshackling yourself from the crushing burden of trying to control what was never yours to command. Take a quiet moment to turn inward and reflect. What are you clutching onto right now with all your might? What outcomes are you desperately straining to force into being, bending them to your will? What fears, lurking in the corners of your mind, are fueling this insatiable need for control? Now just imagine, just for a fleeting second, what it might feel like to release that burden. To loosen your tight, weary grip. To draw in a slow, deep breath. To whisper to yourself, I trust the process of life, whatever it brings. How much lighter would your shoulders feel, unburdened by that weight? How much more alive, more vibrant would you become in that instant? Letting go isn't a one-time event, a single dramatic gesture. It's a practice, a gentle discipline woven into your days. It's reminding yourself, breath by breath, moment by moment, that life was never meant to be tamed or controlled. It's giving yourself permission to trust the flow, to have faith that the same mysterious force keeping your heart beating steadily, keeping the stars flickering in the vast night sky, will also guide your path through the unknown. And when you begin to lean into this trust, you'll start to notice something extraordinary. Life becomes easier, not because the world around you shifts or bends, but because you do, softening from resistance into acceptance, easing from struggle into a quiet, steady peace. Stop for a moment and take a deep breath. Feel the air entering your lungs, filling your body with life. Let it expand within you, stretching every corner of your being, refreshing you from the inside out. Now, as you exhale, let go of everything else. The weight of your worries about tomorrow, the echoes of yesterday's regrets, even the thoughts racing through your mind right now, vying for your attention. In this single breath, there is no past, no future, only the present moment. Just this inhale, just this exhale, this right here is life. And yet, how often do we miss it? Think about it. We spend so much of our time either reliving the past or rehearsing the future. Our minds wander back to old conversations, replaying them like a film reel, wishing we had said something different, done something better. We dwell on past mistakes, analyzing them as if dissecting them will change the outcome. And then, just as easily, our minds shift forward, constructing elaborate scenarios of what might happen, trying to prepare for every possible outcome. We plan, we anticipate, we worry, often about things that may never even come to pass. But here's the truth, the past is gone, unchangeable, a shadow that no longer exists. The future, it hasn't arrived yet, a mystery still unfolding. The only moment that truly exists is now. And yet, we rarely allow ourselves to fully experience it. Why is it so hard to stay here? Why does the mind constantly pull us away from this moment? It's because the mind thrives on time. It clings to the illusion of control, dissecting what has already happened and predicting what might come next. It loves movement, loves to keep busy, because stillness forces us to face what is, without distraction, without escape. And for many of us, that feels uncomfortable. It feels vulnerable. In stillness, there is nothing to hide behind, just the rawness of our existence, just the truth of what is. But here's the secret, stillness isn't empty. It isn't a void to be feared. It's full of life, full of presence, full of clarity. The present moment is not an absence of something. It is an abundance of everything. Imagine holding a snow globe in your hands. When you shake it, the tiny flakes swirl in every direction, creating a storm within the glass, making it impossible to see clearly. This is what happens in your mind when you're caught up in thoughts of the past and future. Everything is chaotic, overwhelming, clouded. But when you set the snow globe down, when you allow it to be still, the flakes begin to settle. The water clears, and suddenly you can see everything as it truly is. That's what the present moment offers: clarity. When you let the mental chatter settle, you begin to see life as it is, not as your mind projects it to be. And here's the thing, the present moment is not just where life happens, it's where peace lives. Think about a time when you felt truly at ease. Maybe it was watching the ocean, the waves rolling onto the shore in a steady rhythm. Maybe it was the warmth of laughter shared with a friend, the kind that makes your chest feel light, your soul feel full. Maybe it was simply sitting in nature, feeling the sun on your skin, the wind in your hair, the earth beneath you. What made those moments so special? It wasn't the circumstances themselves. It was your presence. You weren't caught up in the noise of your mind. You weren't stuck in yesterday or lost in tomorrow. You were fully here, fully alive. And that's the power of the present moment. It connects you to the essence of life itself. But let's be real, staying in the present isn't always easy. The mind is a master storyteller, spinning tales that pull you away from now. It will remind you of things you could have done differently, whispering regrets in your ear. It will warn you about what might go wrong, planting seeds of anxiety. It will lure you into its endless narratives, convincing you that if you just think hard enough, plan far enough, prepare well enough, you can control everything. And sometimes it's so convincing that you believe it. But here's the truth, those stories are just that. Stories. They are not reality. They are thoughts, fleeting and ever-changing, passing like clouds in the sky. The only reality is now. The more you practice coming back to this moment, the more you realize that the stories lose their power. They're like shadows, seeming big and overwhelming, but vanishing the moment you shine the light of presence on them. Now let me ask you this, what does the present moment feel like? Not what do you think it should feel like, but what does it actually feel like? Close your eyes for a moment and just be. Feel the weight of your body resting against whatever is beneath you. Notice your breath as it moves in and out, effortless, constant, grounding you. Feel the subtle sensations in your body, the warmth, the tingling, the gentle pulse of life flowing through you. Listen to the sounds around you, the distant hum of traffic, the chirping of birds, the rustling of leaves, the quiet between sounds, not labeling them, not analyzing them, just hearing them, just being with them. This is the present moment. It's not something you have to search for, it's already here, waiting for you to notice it. And the beauty of the present moment is this: it's enough. It doesn't demand anything from you. It doesn't ask you to be anywhere else, do anything else, or be anyone else. It simply is. And in that isness, there is freedom. A space where you can just be. A space where you don't have to fix anything, achieve anything, chase anything. A space where you can let go of the illusion that something is missing. Because in this moment, right here, right now, nothing is missing. In this moment, you are whole. The present moment is not a destination. It's not something you'll reach after checking off a to-do list, after solving all your problems, after achieving some future goal. It's here, right now. It has always been here, waiting for you to return to it. And the more you practice returning, the more you will realize its power. You'll begin to notice the small, beautiful details of life, the way sunlight dances on a wall, casting shifting patterns of gold, the way a stranger's smile can feel like warmth on a cold day, the way laughter echoes in the air, lingering like a melody, the quiet rhythm of your own heartbeat, steady and strong, a reminder that you are alive. These are the things that make life rich. These are the things that make life real. And they are all happening now. Let's talk about why silence matters, the illusion of control, and the immense power of the present moment. But the real question is, how do you quiet your mind in a world that's constantly pulling your attention in 100 different directions? The constant distractions, responsibilities, and noise all around us make it feel nearly impossible to find peace within. How do you find that inner silence? The truth is, achieving inner silence doesn't mean you need to stop your thoughts entirely. That's not realistic. And it's not the goal. Instead, it means learning to observe your thoughts without being consumed by them, without getting swept away by the endless stream of worries, memories, and plans that fill your mind. It's not about pushing thoughts away or trying to empty your mind completely. It's about creating space between you and those thoughts. A space where you can simply be. This space is calm, quiet, and peaceful. It's a place where you can rest, where your mind isn't overwhelmed by the noise of the world. But how do you cultivate that kind of space, especially when the world feels like it's constantly bombarding you? Today, I'll guide you through 3 practical techniques to help you find that inner silence and create the calm you long for. Practical techniques to help you do just that. The first technique is deceptively simple. Listen, not with the goal of analyzing or labeling, but just to hear the world as it is. This approach is not about creating meaning or categorizing the sounds around you, but about fully experiencing them without interference. To begin, find a comfortable spot where you won't be disturbed, somewhere that invites calm and quiet. Once you're settled, close your eyes and take a moment to focus on your hearing, allowing it to expand and absorb the sounds around you. What do you notice in this moment? It could be the faint hum of an appliance running in the background, the soft rustle of leaves stirring in the breeze, or even the distant, muffled sound of traffic passing far away. Whatever it is, don't label it, don't analyze it, and most importantly, don't judge it. Simply let the sounds wash over you, like waves gently lapping against the shore. Allow them to be just as they are. The key here is to treat each sound you hear as a part of a grand symphony. The world around us is constantly alive with its own rhythm and music, even when we may not consciously be aware of it. When you stop trying to control what you hear, when you cease the urge to name, judge, or dissect the noises, and simply allow them to exist, something beautiful happens. You begin to realize that every sound, no matter how ordinary, repetitive, or unexpected, is an integral part of the present moment. In that realization, you begin to experience a shift. The mind, which often pulls us in different directions, starts to settle. It's as if you've tuned into a radio station. The static that clouds your thinking fades away, and what's left is clarity, a peaceful stillness. You don't need to fight the noise. Instead, you start noticing the harmony within it. And then, of course, there are moments when your mind will inevitably begin to wander. This is completely natural. Thoughts will surface, pulling your attention away from the present. When that happens, gently guide your focus back to the sounds around you. There's no need to force anything. There's no right or wrong way to do this, and certainly no need for perfection. The goal is not to silence your mind entirely, but simply to increase your awareness of what's happening right now. Every time you bring your attention back to the sounds, you are strengthening your ability to remain present in the moment. This practice, if done regularly, starts to become second nature. It becomes a simple tool you can turn to whenever life feels chaotic, whenever your mind seems too busy or overwhelmed. You will find yourself more grounded, more centered, and more capable of finding peace amidst the noise of life. The second technique is one of the most powerful tools for finding inner silence: using your breath. Your breath is always with you, always present and always available, making it an incredibly reliable point of focus. It's one of the few things you can always rely on, no matter where you are or what's happening around you. To start, find a comfortable position, one that allows you to relax without distraction, and turn your attention inward toward your breathing. Don't try to change it in any way, just observe it as it is. Feel the air as it enters your nose, fills your lungs, and then exits again. Simply notice the rhythm of each breath, the rise and fall of your chest, and the subtle pause between each inhale and exhale. There's no need to hurry, no need to force your breathing into any particular pattern. Just allow it to flow naturally. As you focus on your breath, you might find your mind beginning to wander. Thoughts will naturally arise, plans, worries, and even memories. This is completely normal. It's not a sign that you're doing something wrong. In fact, it's an essential part of the practice. You don't need to fight these thoughts or judge yourself for having them. They're just part of your mind's normal activity. Instead of getting frustrated, gently guide your attention back to your breath. Imagine your thoughts as clouds drifting across the sky, constantly moving and changing. You don't need to chase them or try to push them away. Just let them come and go naturally, allowing your breath to remain steady and constant, like an anchor that keeps you grounded in the present moment. Now take it a step further. Begin to notice how your breath reflects your state of mind. Is it shallow and quick, perhaps because you're feeling anxious or stressed? Or is it deep and steady, reflecting a calm and peaceful state? Without forcing anything, try to slow your breath down. Inhale deeply through your nose for a slow count of 4. Hold it gently for a brief moment and then exhale slowly through your mouth for a count of 6. With each exhale, feel your body start to relax, letting go of tension as the air flows out. This simple practice has a profound effect. It not only calms your nervous system but also anchors you firmly in the present moment. It creates a space of stillness where silence can naturally arise, bringing you a sense of peace and clarity. Over time, this breath-focused practice becomes a powerful tool to help you return to the present moment whenever you need it, allowing you to find inner silence amidst the noise and distractions of the world around you. The third technique is a bit different, as it focuses on bringing awareness to your thoughts without being carried away by them. This technique is called thought labeling, and it works in a simple yet powerful way. As you sit quietly, begin to observe the thoughts that arise in your mind. Instead of engaging with them or getting caught up in the emotions or stories that come with them, simply label them. For example, if you find yourself worrying about something, you might gently say to yourself, "Worry." If you catch yourself replaying a memory, you can label it as memory. If you are thinking about plans for the future, simply call it planning. By labeling your thoughts in this way, you create a small but significant distance between yourself and the thought itself. It's like putting a little space between you and the thought, a moment of separation where you can clearly see that you are not your thoughts. You are simply the observer of your thoughts. This simple act of labeling is incredibly effective because it helps shift your perspective. It allows you to step back and view the flow of your mind without getting swept away by it. Rather than being completely absorbed by each thought, you start to see them as transient, coming and going like waves in the ocean. Over time, you'll begin to notice that your thoughts lose their grip on you. They become like passing clouds, always there, but no longer controlling the weather of your mind. With consistent practice, you'll find that the constant rush of thoughts begins to slow down. You'll develop the ability to observe them with a sense of detachment, noticing them for what they are, temporary mental events that come and go. And in that space of observation, the mind naturally becomes quieter, allowing you to experience greater inner peace and presence. Now, you might be wondering, how do these techniques fit into daily life? The beauty of them is that they don't require hours of dedicated effort or a complete overhaul of your routine. They are simple, accessible, and can be woven into the moments of your day without disruption. You can practice deep listening while sitting in a park, absorbing the sounds of nature around you, or even during your morning commute, letting the hum of traffic or the chatter of voices become part of your awareness. You can focus on your breath while waiting in line at a cafe, standing in an elevator, or during a stressful moment at work when your mind feels scattered. And you can practice labeling your thoughts whenever you feel overwhelmed. Whether you're caught in a spiral of worries, lost in memories, or feeling anxious about the future. In just a few moments, what once felt like chaos can transform into clarity. The key to making these techniques truly effective is consistency. Start small. There's no need to carve out an hour of meditation each day. Just commit to 5 minutes. Pick one practice to focus on each day. Maybe one morning, you decide to simply listen, immersing yourself in the sounds around you. The next day, you shift your attention to your breath, using it as a steady anchor in the present moment. And the following day, you practice thought labeling, recognizing each thought as it comes and gently naming it without judgment. Over time, these practices will start to blend seamlessly into your life. They will no longer feel like exercises you need to set aside time for. They will become natural tools that you instinctively rely on, whether you're at home, at work, or moving through the busy flow of daily life. And as you continue to practice, something deeper begins to unfold. These techniques don't just quiet your mind, they change your entire relationship with it. You begin to see your thoughts not as absolute truths, but as passing phenomena, like clouds drifting across the sky. You start to notice that beneath the constant mental chatter, beneath the noise and the distractions, there is a deeper stillness. A silence that has always been there, waiting for you to notice it. This is the silence of presence, the silence of simply being. It's not something you have to create or force, it's something you uncover, like gently brushing away the clouds to reveal the vast blue sky that was always there. Inner silence isn't about escaping the world or shutting everything out. It's about meeting life fully, with clarity, with peace, with an open heart. It's about hearing the subtle music that life is always playing, feeling the rhythm of your breath as it moves through you, and observing your thoughts without getting lost in them. These practices are not just techniques, they are doorways to a quieter mind, a fuller heart, and a way of living that is more deeply in tune with the present moment. Now let's take a step back and look at the bigger picture. Everything we've talked about, inner silence, the present moment, and the illusion of control, leads us to one profound realization. The way you see the world determines the way you experience it. Your perspective isn't just a passive lens through which you observe reality, it actively shapes your reality. It defines your joys, your struggles, your fears, and your sense of peace. And when that perspective shifts, everything changes. The noise that once seemed overwhelming begins to fade. The chaos that once felt suffocating starts to settle. You begin to see life not as a series of obstacles to overcome, but as a harmonious dance of being, unfolding moment by moment, just as it was always meant to. Think about the ocean for a moment. Picture the waves rising and falling, crashing against the shore, then receding back into the depths. Each wave appears distinct, separate, unique. But is it really? Or is it simply the ocean itself, momentarily taking form before merging back into the vastness from which it came? The same is true of you. You are not a separate wave cut off from the rest of existence. You are the ocean itself, expressed in a fleeting, ever-changing form. And when you truly see this, when you don't just understand it intellectually, but feel it deep within, you realize that the illusion of separation dissolves. The boundaries between you and everything else begin to blur, and suddenly a deep, undeniable connection emerges. You are not apart from life, you are life. This shift in perspective isn't just a poetic idea, it's a lived experience, one that has the power to transform how you move through the world. Suddenly, the struggles and conflicts that once felt so deeply personal begin to lose their grip. The anger, the fear, the frustration, these emotions no longer feel like forces you have to fight or control. Instead, they become like passing weather patterns, momentary storms moving through the vast sky of your awareness. And just as the sky remains untouched, no matter how fierce the storm, the deeper part of you, the part beyond thoughts and emotions, remains unshaken by the noise of the mind. But let's make this practical. How do you actually shift your perspective? How do you move from feeling like a separate wave to recognizing that you are the entire ocean? It all begins with awareness. Start by noticing how often you identify with your thoughts and emotions. When you feel anger, for example, you might say, "I am angry." But is that really true? Are you anger itself, or are you simply experiencing anger in this moment? There's a subtle yet profound difference. The moment you recognize that your thoughts and emotions are not you, that they are simply things that arise within you, you create space. And in that space, you find freedom. Let's try something. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine yourself standing by a river. Watch as the water flows past you, endlessly moving. Some parts of the river are calm and clear, while others are rushing and turbulent. Now imagine that your thoughts and emotions are like this river. Instead of jumping in and being swept away by the current, you remain on the shore, simply observing. You don't need to control the river. You don't need to stop it. You just need to see it for what it is, a continuous flow that doesn't define you. This is the power of perspective. And here's something even more profound. When you stop identifying with the river of thoughts and emotions, you begin to see the larger landscape. You notice the trees lining the shore, the mountains in the distance, the vastness of the sky above, all the beauty that was there all along, but was hidden because you were too focused on the movement of the water. This is what happens when you shift your perspective in life. You stop being consumed by the details, by the temporary ups and downs, and instead, you begin to see the whole. You realize that everything, the struggles, the triumphs, the joys, the sorrows, is part of a greater harmony, a dance much bigger than any single moment. This new perspective also transforms the way you see others. Instead of perceiving people as separate from you, as individuals isolated in their own struggles, you begin to see them as reflections of yourself. Their joys are your joys. Their pain is your pain. This understanding dissolves barriers and creates deep compassion. Because when you truly realize that we are all part of the same ocean, it becomes impossible to feel alone. You recognize that every wave, no matter how small or large, contributes to the beauty of the whole. But let's take it even deeper. This shift in perspective isn't just about connection, it's about liberation. When you understand that you are part of something greater, you stop needing life to conform to your expectations. You stop demanding that things go exactly as you planned. You begin to trust the flow, knowing that the same force that moves the stars in the sky, that shifts the tides of the ocean, is the force that moves through you. This trust brings an unparalleled sense of peace. You no longer feel the need to resist or control life. You simply allow it to unfold. And in this unfolding, you discover something profound, something that has been waiting for you all along. Life is not a problem to solve. It is not a battle to win. It is a miracle to experience. And when you see it this way, everything changes. Every moment, no matter how ordinary, becomes extraordinary. A single breath, a smile shared with a stranger, the sound of rain against your window. These simple things take on new meaning. They remind you that the essence of life isn't found in grand achievements or distant future plans. It's found here, now, in the quiet presence of simply being. So as we move forward, take this shift in perspective with you. Let it shape the way you see the world. Let it change the way you see yourself. Let it remind you again and again that you are not separate from life. You are life, and in every breath, every moment, there is a beauty and a harmony that has always been here, waiting for you to notice. You don't need to search for it. You don't need to fight for it. You simply need to see it.